guys, Mindy here, and I just wanted to take a little bit of time to go over the supplies that I use for doing my cups. I get asked a lot about what supplies I use and what different things are needed in order to make the cups, so I thought I would just do a video and kind of go over everything that I use. So if you have questions when I get done, feel free to drop a comment below, but I'll just go over all the supplies that I have. So for applying the Mod Podge, I generally will either use my hand with a gloved hand, or I will use a brush, and my brushes of choice are either the foam brushes, and you can buy these in bulk on Amazon or at any hobby store. And then I also like these brushes because they have a little bit more coverage. One thing you do want to remember is to clean them. These are a little bit harder to clean because if they get gummed up with the Mod Podge, they will not work, and so I usually just toss them. These you can kind of work to get them clean by putting them in soap. One thing, if they're non-synthetic, you want to make sure you're not sticking them in acetone for too long because these will pull out, and I've had to actually throw out several paintbrushes because the bristles actually will fall out. So you don't want to do that. Don't make my mistake. I use this to apply the Mod Podge, and the Mod Podge that I use is usually the hard coat Mod Podge. I do have dishwasher safe, and if you're gonna use the dishwasher safe on the outside of a mug or something, it takes 28 days to cure, so you don't want to use that in the dishwasher until it's past that 28-day cure. But everything that I use is generally applied with epoxy over it, so I haven't tried the dishwasher safe Mod Podge yet, but I do know it works too as an adhesive. I use gloves pretty much all the time when I'm working, and I have found there's a website called bettymills.com, and they have a lot of great supplies. I buy the little cups. They are 2 tablespoons, and this is how I measure my epoxy. So I do usually 15 milliliters of each part, and epoxy is 2 parts. And I like to use the squeeze bottles because you just cut them to the second line, I believe it is, and then it's precise measurements into your cups. So super easy to use. You can fill your cups, and then I was able to get these from the bettymills.com website too, and I think I bought around 900 of them for only $19, and that included shipping. So it's a really great website to get supplies. It's a medical supplies website, and it was a really good buy, so I do recommend getting them there if you would like. Other things that I use are the foam footballs, which I use with my PVC pipes in order to decorate and add the Mod Podge and glitter to my cups. And these are purchased from Dollar Tree, and I just either drill out a hole in it. I'm gonna try to get a heat rod so that it makes it a little bit easier, but I have also purchased them from Feather Bear Designs' husband, who does them, and he does a great job of putting the holes in them, and they're pre-done for you. So that's also a great option. And these are used with the PVC pipe, and I just buy the 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and I usually buy like a 2-foot at a time, and then I just bring them home and I saw them in half so that I have 2 poles. I also buy the end caps so that I can just place them on the end, which I can't get this one off, but I just put them on the end so that when I'm using it, and you just shove it through, and it's pretty stuck on there. You can glue them on with like E6000 if you would like, but I use my poles interchangeably, so I don't usually like to take them or to keep them on there permanently, but you can if you want. So this makes it really easy to just stick it in the cups, and this size is good for the 30-ounce cups, and then the smaller size of the football, and they both just slide on and off of my pole. It is good for the smaller cups. So for instance, like this cup, You just stick it in there, and then you can hold your cup. And then I also use those same footballs on my hand turners and on my rotisserie. So, multi-use. I just am able to take them on and off. So, I thought I would let you know about that. Another thing that you can do, which this cup, if it's too cold outside, you can use paint, which I bought this brand of paint recommended from Caitlin, one of my friends, and it's Waverly. It's just chalk white paint, and it probably is going to need 2 coats because it does leave some, I don't know if you can see it, there's a few little streaks in it. So I'm going to paint this cup again with a second coat, and then it'll be completely white. And that's done usually for if you're going to do a light color cup, so like a light pink, or sometimes a yellow might need it. Iridescent ones, glitters that are clear, they would need a base coat if you want to do that. Or you can just use a 3rd layer of glitter, which I've also done as well, and it works fine that way. The other thing that I use for my cups, because I usually tape off the top and the bottom on my cups, which with this cup that I just got done doing, it's ready for epoxy, but I tape off both the top and the bottom, and I use, it's called electrical tape, and it's super easy to buy. I bought this at Harbor Freight. It's 0.75 inches, so 3/4 of an inch in width. So it's a great width, and I usually let it hang over just a little bit and then I tape it. It also, if people are not sure about using it to drink out of, I do provide straws with my cups usually. I try to do that, and that way they can just drink out of the straw. But if they're worried about that, they can drink, because there will be a part of it that does not have epoxy. So there's that. And then when I do a cup like this one, because it does have so many different colors of glitter, you would want to seal it. The first checkered cup that I did, I didn't seal, and it probably should have been sealed because I spent about 45 minutes picking glitter that had shifted once I applied the epoxy. So if you're gonna do a cup like that, I do recommend sealing it. And in order to seal it, I use this, which also is the one that I used for my Waterslide decal, if you watched that YouTube video. And if you haven't, you can pop on over and watch that one, but it's Crystal Clear Enamel by Rust-Oleum, and it works great as a clear coat. And that'll just seal in your glitter so that it doesn't shift. The other thing that I use is 100% acetone. I was using 91% alcohol to wipe down my cups after I did a layer of epoxy, but I did find that occasionally, because the alcohol isn't completely 100%, it's 91%, and the other one I think is like 50% or 70%, but that means there is water in there, and because of that percentage of water, you can get fish eyes in your epoxy on your coats. So if you use acetone to wipe down your cups, it will help with not having fish eyes in your epoxy. And by fish eyes, I mean like the little wells that you see when you coat it. Sometimes it'll just kind of separate and create a little divot, and the acetone does help with that. So that's another thing that I use. I think that's pretty much all that I use. I just wanted to give you guys a video of all of the supplies I use. If you have any other questions about what I use, don't hesitate to drop me a question. As always, thanks guys for watching. Just kidding, I wasn't done. I had a couple more supplies that I totally forgot about, and I wanted to share those with you as well. So, popsicle sticks. I use popsicle sticks for mixing my epoxy. You can use the small ones or you can use the big ones. And these ones are the ones that I buy at Walmart. You can buy a whole, like 1,000 of them for $5. So those are really great. And then another thing that I use are coffee filters and the makeup sponges. I use both of these for wiping down my cups after I pull the tape, because after you pull tape on your cups, you're gonna have just a little line of epoxy that's steeped underneath that tape. And so these are good ways to clean up that epoxy. I'll either take a makeup sponge, which I got these at Target, and there's 32 of them, and they were just like a buck or two, so not too bad. And the coffee filters you can buy at Sam's Club, a whole pack of them. I don't even know, I have so many of them, and they were only, I think, $4, so they're really good. I use those to wipe down my cups with acetone as well, not only to wipe the epoxy off, but I use them to wipe down the acetone. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys was my turner. When I explained how I do it, I also wanted to take a minute to show you what I do as well. So if you can see here what I was telling you guys about, I couldn't do it the other day because I had a cup turning, but this actually unscrews from the main area. And what I was saying was I have that bar still underneath there, and so it's still being supported. This piece has been, sorry that light is hitting, but this piece has been glued onto this stick, so this is like my permanent turner stick. But this is the piece that I was telling you guys about that you would need to get. And I did update my list, my YouTube description for my turner video to include links to the parts that I think they are. But this is the piece on the end here that you would need to get. And then this piece is the other piece. And it is, I think it said it was the male adapter. One of them's the male adapter and one's the female. Excuse me. And then the other thing, which I can't tell if this is even looking at it right, but underneath here is where I put that silicone tape. And you can see inside the motor here, or this part here where there's the latch, is what I screw to this bar, which is still on here. And like I said, I leave about 10 inches to 12 inches of that, so it's not gonna fall. Even if this were to fall or come off of there, it's not gonna fall because it's gonna still be resting on there. But it slides right on, and then it goes over there, so even if this were to come off, it's not gonna come loose. And then the most important part is that it screws back in here, and so it's secure, and it's not gonna come off of there. And it's, I mean, it's pretty tight. Like, it never comes off. I've never had any issues with it falling off. So I hope that helps. And then there's the motor that I use. And then this is the heat gun that I use. It's called the Drill Master, and it is from Harbor Freight as well. And I think it was on sale for only, I want to say $12 the day I bought it, so not a bad deal. So sorry I had to come back because of course I forgot things that I wanted to tell you, so I thought I would come back and just share those other things with you. Also, another one is if you're gonna mix more epoxy than the 15 milliliters per part, so the 30 milliliters, and you want to mix more, you can use these bigger cups. And I bought these off Amazon, and they weren't too expensive. So those are some of my things. And then these things are wonderful. They're called Handy Wacks. They're interfolded dry waxed paper, and I use those underneath my glittering area because they're interfolded. So they have like a crease that's already in it when you pop them out, so that when you glitter, you can just dump it back into your your glitter jar. So thanks again, and sorry I popped back in, but hope you enjoy this video.